What's going on, everyone? CameronBlazeIt here, welcoming you to our team. Wait a second. Slow down. What's going on, everyone? CameronBlazeIt here, welcoming you to our AABL draft recap. Now, this is like a week late. And I'm going to be uploading a lot of videos this weekend because of just how far behind I am. I've been kind of sick here and there. I just been sick. I haven't been home much. Had work. And I was just sitting here, and I'm just like, I have like 7 things I gotta record. So let's just start with the one I want to record the most, and that is our AABL draft recap video. Now, we're gonna be uploading this on Saturday and Sunday, along with our PBA videos, which we're gonna have just catch up on a lot of stuff. We're gonna have a lot of videos sporadically uploaded throughout the week, probably, until we are finally caught back up. And just gotta do what I gotta do. So ABL draft happened like a week and a half or so. So far ago that like some matches have been played. I've already played my week 1 match. I'm just gonna say that right now because of just how far behind I am. But it's okay because that video will be up soon, so you guys can watch it. But we're gonna go over our team recap real quick. If you guys are hyped for your San Antonio Dits getting a new season, a new team, be sure to hit that like button down below. We had the number 2 overall pick, and we're gonna just go over who's all in the league. So we have a lot of cool kids in this league. All right. We have Dat Rider Helen, aka the coach of the New York Meloetas. We got me. We have Shadow Goal, coach of the Detroit Red Gyarados. We have Notorious Pip, coach of the coach of the Wiltshire War Turtles. We have my buddy Matt Weavile MT, coach of the Green Bay Gallisapods. We have Callum, our good buddy Callum, coach of the North London Auxiliaries. We have my buddy Arnaud, coach of the Mistral Blimps. We have Colin, coach of the Minnesota Vikavolt. We have Cody, coach of the Windsor Zapdos. We have Alex, coach of the Omaha Alma Stars. We have Arctic Wolf, coach of the Oklahoma Thunderous. We have Crazy Mage, coach of the San Diego Rotoms. We got Princess Pipsqueaks, coach of the Baltimore Orioles. We have Roopdat, coach of the Columbus Swoo. We have Silver Beanie, coach of the Crystal Palace Swallows, and That Attack, coach of the Dallas Raptors. Very cool guys in this league. I know a lot of people. Some of them are really good friends of mine, especially people like Helen. We got Alex. We have Pipsqueak. We have Matt. We have Cody, Arnaud, Callum. Just a lot of people I know and that I consider my friends. So Arnaud too. I don't know if I said that, but just a lot of people in here I'm friends with. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. But as always, we are here to win. So with the number 2 overall pick as our number 1 pick, I grabbed that young Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is a very fast and hard-hitting Pokemon, hitting at 130 speed, 115 attack, 95 special attack, ability Electric Surge, which summons electric terrain, which will basically give us adaptability electric moves for 5 to 8 turns if we have the terrain booster or whatever. It's like terrain extender. Yeah, it will last 8 turns, which will give us huge attack boost in our electric attacks. And electric is one of the hardest types to swap into if you don't have a ground type. And the cool thing about this thing is it gets Grass Knot, and it can hit ground types. But movable wise, it gets agility, acrobatics, it can Brave Bird, it gets Calm Mind, it has setup, Dazzling Gleam for stab, Discharge for stab, it gets Grass Knot. Nature's Madness is a very good move because it can do half of your HP, and then you can run the Guardian of Lola and do 3/4 HP. It gets Screams, it gets Roost for recovery, it can be a Thunderbolt, it gets Taunt, it gets U-Turn for momentum, and Volt Switch, and Wild Charge. Wild Charge is very hard for this thing to swap, things to swap into. You can run a mixed, you can run physically offensive, you can run specially offensive. In this league, any Pokemon on your team can use a Z move, but they have to be attacking Z moves, so we cannot use Z Electric Terrain, sadly, it just makes me sad. But we can use things like Z Fly to catch something off guard. Also gets things like you can use things like Steel Wing to hit fairy types if you really need to. This thing just does really well. Gives me a really fast Pokemon. 130 speed is a very hard speed tier to adjust to for your opponent. It just not much things can do to this thing. Excuse me. It only has 2 weaknesses, and poison and ground. And I feel like we covered poison and ground okay on our team. It's not my best draft, I'm gonna say that, but I like a lot of stuff on my draft. So that is our tier 1 Pokemon. Now this is not in order of what we drafted, because if that's the case, then it's whatever. But I think in round 2 I do grab Mamoswine. Mamoswine has a base of 130 attack and 110 HP, rocking 80 speed. So it has 3 really good abilities in Oblivious, Snow Cloak, and Thick Fat. Snow Cloak we can use if like we really want to run Hail one time. Oblivious, so we can no longer be taunted or infiltrated. So if we can get grades up and things like a Crobat with Infiltrator thinks they can Heat Wave us, we have Oblivious, which is very nice. And Thick Fat, so we can take some fire and ice type hits better. Move-wise, this thing's really good. It gets things like Avalanche if you want to be a bulkier set. It gets Blizzard, which we're probably not going to rerun. This thing only uses physical attacks and then Freeze Dry, so yeah, there's that most of the time. Avalanche, Earthquake, Freeze Dry, like we said earlier. It gets Ice Shard, Icicle Crash, Iron Head, Knockoff. It gets Screens as well. It gets Return and Rock Slide. It gets Stealth Rocks. Stone Edge and Superpower can be a bulky against that with like Toxic. Some interesting moves down here that we can definitely use are Amnesia if we really deal with a hit. Curse is interesting because I've seen a Curse Mamoswine work, but it's like a very situational kind of thing. For like Z move purposes, you can run I'm trying to find it. Where is it? I saw it earlier. It's like some move. It's pretty bad without it. Oh well. I'm pretty sure I'll find it later. But it can just like it does a lot of damage. This thing is one of the hardest Pokemon to swap into in the format, just because of its ground ice typing, and also access to Steel, Dark, and Fighting moves, and its base of 130 attack. This thing is going to be a great wall breaker on the team. It gives us a poison resist, and a ground type Slayer due to its ice typing, so kind of helps out Tapu Koko there. Tapu Koko covers this thing's fighting weakness, and water types don't want to be going up against a Tapu Koko either, so there's that. Very, again, all-around great Pokemon. It's probably one of, again, championships can be built around a Mamoswine, which I've seen happen, so I'm glad we picked up my boy Mamoswine. Up next, we have Royal the Empoleon. Empoleon is a very good Pokemon. From Tier 3, we grabbed it in round 4, I believe. Yeah, round 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, round 4. Had to think in my head. 111 special attack, 101 special defense, 60 speed, 88 defense, 84 HP. 2 great abilities in Defiant and Torrent. Torrent is a interesting ability because of people forget about it, and it can actually be really clutch. Defiant, so people were in Sticky Webs, we can bring that Aqua Jet variant. But this thing can be like Salic Berry Sword Stance, it can be like Agility, it can be bulky with Stealth Rocks, it can be Air Balloon, it can be Shuck It, it can hold a Chople. This Pokemon's probably one of the best to hold Berry, just because it's bulk and it's not weak to many things. Gets things like we said, Agility, Aqua Jet, Avalanche, Blizzard, Drill Peck. I don't know why I said Drill Peck, but it's there. Brick Break, it gets Earthquake, it gets Flash Cannon, Grass Knot, it gets Home Claws, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam. Home Claws is very good in my opinion for this thing. Because again, its attack isn't the greatest, but you can use it enough. Like if you know things with Sticky Webs are coming, or you like there's Intimidate Pokemon, you can run Physical. I've seen Physical and Empoleon put in a lot of work. Anyway, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Knockoff. For utility purposes, it gets Roar, it gets Rock, Slide, Scald, Shadow Claw, Signal Beam, Stealth Rocks. We have another Stealth Rock user to take pressure off Mamoswine. Surf, Sword Stance, Toxic, Waterfall. Gets Bulldoze if you need that bulky support. I don't know. Excuse me. It gets Feather Dance. Dope. Feather Dance is so weird. It can run like Iron Defense A and boost that defense up even higher. It gets that's about it though. Steel Wing is there for but it gets flash cannon, so that's really not much of an issue. And it gets yawn. Yawn is honestly a very, very good move in my opinion because it stops sweeps and it forces swaps most of the time. If you can get a Pokemon that can do that and can be a wall, it's pretty good. It can force swaps with yawn, so I like it. I like it a lot. Again, really good special attack, really good special defense. Pairs really good with our next Pokemon, which we grabbed in round 5, I believe, which is Chesnog, the Nutcracker, the Chesnog. 88 HP, 107 attack, 122 defense, 75 special defense, 64 speed. So these Nutcracker and Polion were very, very good in my opinion. They cover each other's weaknesses almost perfect, which is very nice. Gives us a ground swap in, a really good ground swap in to be exact. Move pool, this thing is great. Overgrow and bulletproof. Bulletproof is very nice because Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, Focus Blast, etc. Any like, it's like projectile moves. I'm pretty sure that's how it's classified. Things that are like Aura Sphere. You know how it's like a little like beam kind of thing. Yeah, that's what it protects it from, which is really cool. Move pool, it can be a bulk up. It can be Brick Break, Dragon Claw, which is kind of dope. Drain Punch, Earthquake. This thing hits very hard. Again, pairs really well with our Empoleon. Empoleon is weak to ground and fighting and electric. Ground, fighting, electric, and Chestnut covers 2 of those. Chestnug's weak to flying, poison, fire, and ground. I think that's it. Yeah, psychic, poison, fire, and flying. And Empoleon covers 3 of those 4, which is very nice. Outside of the fire. It's really good move pool. Again, has Leech Seed, Iron Head, can be bulky, stall. Gets Poison Jab, so we have another Fairy Slayer, which is nice, even though it's weak to Fairy, but oh yeah, that's it, Fairy. And so it's 4 out of 5 weaknesses this thing can be covered from. Gives us, like I said, this team is like gives us a Coco kind of like, it helps out Coco a lot with the Earthquake swap in. Bulky Super Fang is actually very nice because you can like if you're going up against like a Cresselia, which you normally wouldn't be able to beat, you can Super Fang, Leech Seed it, so that way it can't really recover up. It does get a Belly Drum, which is nice. Dual Chop's interesting. Focus Punch, Z Focus Punch is actually going to be very, very hard for many people to swap into, just because of how high the attack stat is. Gets Iron Tail, Z Iron Tail again, just like this thing can be a very good Z user just because of its great move pool and high base attack and high space powered moves. As I'm adjusting, hold 1 second. There we go. Alright, so that's a little better, I feel like. So again, just a really good pairs really good with my team. And the main reason for me drafting this is it gets spikes, and spikes is a very, very good thing to have on your team because, gosh, I'm stuffy today. Because hazard stacking is very, very useful in League format. I haven't really ever tried hazard stacking because I like offensive more than that, but I can see why it's good. We have 2 things that can set up Stealth Rocks, and this thing gets spikes. We actually have 3 things that can set up Stealth Rocks. Now that we, if we keep going on, we grab Spiky Cranberry, the Druddigon, shiny. It's just pretty lit. It's a Spiky Cranberry. It's amazing. I wish this thing got Dragon Dance, but it's all good. 77 HP, 90 defense, 90 special defense. Gives us a very good defensive Pokemon. 48 speed, so it's kind of slow. And 120 attack. 3 really good abilities. It can use every single one of these abilities. Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet. It can be Sheer Force, Life Orb, or it can be Mold Breaker, Stealth Rocks. It's just like, or even like Mold Breaker, Earthquake. This thing just does so well at what it can. It's just, I mean, amazing Pokemon. I love this thing. It gets Aqua Tail, it gets Crunch, Dragon Claw, it gets Dragon Tail. It can be again, just like you want to set up on this thing. JK, it gets Earthquake, Fire Punch, it gets the Focus Blast, it gets Glare, which is very, very nice because it's 100% accurate, unlike Thunder Wave, and it can hit the ground type as well. So we can paralyze ground types, which is nice. It gets Gunk Shot for fairies. Iron Head, Night Slash, it can get Outrage. Pursuit Trapper, which is very nice. Stealth Rocks, like we said. Priority and Sucker Punch, it gets Superpower. Toxic and Taunt, so it could be like a Stall Breaker with Taunt. You want to be like, Wish Protect, JK, we got Taunt. So it's very nice. Hits very hard, just does what it needs to do. So far my team's kind of slow. but that's because this is not how I drafted in order. I actually have a very fast team in my opinion. So there's that. Up next we have Helen the Meloetta. We're gonna get rid of the HP on that. I was looking at something earlier. Meloetta is a very nice Pokemon because it's basically two Pokemon in one. 100 HP, 128 in the special attack and special defense, 90 in speed, 77 in the attack and defense. And if we go to the Purette form, this thing has 128 in the attack and speed, so it becomes very, very nice. Serene Grace is a very good move pool. Since this thing is physical and special, it can do so much. It has to run Relic Song to get to this spot, sadly, but not much you can do there. Things it can do, it can be like, I've seen like weakness policy on this thing, and it just sweeps teams because of how high its attack stat is, and HP. Its HP is high enough to where you can live a super effective hit. It gets Calm Mind, it gets Break, Close Combat, Dazzling Gleam, Drain Punch, Energy Ball, Fire Punch. This thing's moveset is insane. Focus Blast, Grass Knot. It can be a Cleric with Heal Bell. It gets Hone Claws and Hyper Voice. It gets Ice Punch Knockoff. It gets Screens. It gets Magic Coat. It gets Power Up Punch, Psychic Size Shock. It gets Relic Song, which is the song we need. Shadow Ball, Shadow Claw. It gets Signal Beam, Stone Edge, Thunder Punch, Thunder Wave, Thunder Bolt, Thunder, Toxic, Trick, U-turns, and Headbutt. This thing just does so much. It's also a very good Z-move user, like we said earlier. It can kill fairies, dragons with Dual Chop if we need to, even though it's kind of weird. But it gets Focus Punch. I know, Z Focus Punch is going to do so much. Z Giga Impact is going to do so much. Excuse me. It gets Last Resort, like Relic Song, Last Resort. Bam, just kill everything. No normal resist, we're going to punish people with this thing if there's not a normal resist on their team. It's just really good. I love this thing. Teeter Dance is such a troll move. Besides that though, that's about it. It does get good setup. It gets good attack stat, good speed stat. It does what it needs to. Hits very hard with its 128 attack and speed. And again, it can be the regular Meloetta form and just be bulkier and Calm Mind Sweeper. Serene Grace is nice too. They're just saying that. So that's our first 6 Pokemon. So Coco's are tier 1, Mammoth 1's tier 2. This is just recapping. Empoleon and Chestnut are 2 tier 3s, and Dredagon and Meloetta are 2 tier 4s. So our tier 5 is Blair the Mismagius. Blair is returning once again. It's a great Pokemon. It's probably my favorite tier 5. I would totally draft this thing. You literally can't go wrong with Mismagius half the time. Like, it's unless you have like a huge Dark or Ghost weakness. But Mismagius is a very good draft on my part. I love this thing. Gives me a fighting swap in and a normal swap in. It also gives me a ground immunity, which is nice. 60 in HP, attack, and defense is pretty bad, but 105 in special attack, special defense, and speed is nice because it can be like a Life Orb attacker, and it can outspeed a lot of stuff with its 105 speed. It's a nice speed tier to go with the team. It can be a Calm Mind Sweeper, it can be a Destiny Bond, like, killer. It gets Energy Ball, it gets Dazzling Gleam, it gets Foul Play. Foul Play is not terrible. It gets Heal Bell, so we have another Cleric if we need it. It gets Hex, so Will-O-Wisp Hex is very nice. Nasty Claw, it gets Memento, Power Gem, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt. I mean, its move pool is limited, but with what it has, it hits so much on every single team. And, it can just do a lot. It also gets, fun fact, it gets, like, Mystical Fire is actually usable in this thing because it's now 75 power in Gen 7, so Mystical Fire is actually going to be very, very good. It gets, it's usable. It now has, like, a usable fire moves that hit steel types, which people don't seem to understand now, I guess. I don't know. But we watch it out because Mystical Fire is such a... we no longer have to bring HP Fire. We can just bring Mystical Fire, which is very nice. But yeah, that's about all Mismagius can do. It's just basically... what it needs to do every single time, basically, is either A, get chip damage, or Destiny Bond, kill something. That's all Mismagius really can do. And it can be a sweeper with Nasty Plot or Calm On, just saying, but it gets damage off. It can be a late game sweeper with a Scarf or Life Orb if it needs to be, with chip damage, or it can be an early game chipper down for our rest of our wall breakers and sweepers. One of our wall breakers is X-Ray the Mega Beedrill. I grabbed this thing in the last round of the draft. which is, I mean, fair for me. I love this thing. Mega Beedrill is very good in this format, in my opinion, especially now that it gets the speed immediately. 150 attack, 145 speed, hits very hard. Move pull isn't the greatest, but it has enough to where it can hit most things. Gets things like Brick Break, Acrobatics. It gets Drill. Acrobatics is bad, but you get the idea. It gets Drill Run. It gets Knock Off, Poison Jab. It can be Pursuit Trapper. It gets U-Turn, and it just Swords Dance. It's a Swords Dance Sweeper. It gets Toxic Spikes. It gets Defog. That's if you really, really want to be bad, you can run those sets. But it can run those sets if it needs to. This thing's move pool just sadly is not the best. That's the one thing I'm upset with it. For some reason, it gets Skull Bash, which is kind of interesting. But another cool thing, this thing gets where is it? Fell Stinger, and which is very, very good because off a base 150 attack, and if you can get basically a Swords Dance and a half up for killing something, that's kind of wild because this thing will be outspeeding everything, and you don't have to like waste a turn setting up a Swords Dance. You just swap on something that's weakened, and you Fell Stinger it, and it just gets a huge tech boost for literally no reason. It's great. I love this thing. X-Ray is out here. It can be an agility baton passer if it like really if like this thing can't sweep but something else can, you can like baton pass speed, which is nice. And also can baton pass a Swords Dance. It just can't baton pass both at the same time. So yeah, it's there. The option's there, but I'm not saying it's gonna do it. Up next we have Cyclone, the Tornadus Therian, and more speed on the team. Also another really good Zmon. It can also be like Assault Vest and Life Orb. This thing does a lot. It can be Scarfer. It can be a mixed attacker. It does really nice. 121 speed, 110 special attack, 100 attack. Regenerator is very nice because free health is always nice. I already said its stats. 121 speed. Gets Acrobatics, Air Slash, Hurricane, Brick Break, Crunch, Dark Pulse, Extra Sensory, Focus Blast, Foul Play for them. Physical attackers gets Hammer Arm, Heat Wave, Hurricane, Knockoff, Psychic. You get Sludge Wave, Sludge Bomb, Superpower. Gets U-Turn, gets Tailwind for support. It can be Taunt. This thing does a lot, and it's very nice. Going down to the lesser used moves, again, the possibility for Z moves are always down here because there are always things like Iron Tail. Just saying. You get things like, that's about it though. Can be like Smackdown. I've seen Smackdown work on some occasions where you need to kill a Charizard for some odd reason, and you know it's going to be coming. You can run Smackdown, and it'll OHKO because it's a Charizard, and Charizard's bad. But unless it's Mega Charizard X, and then you're instantly amazing. But it can be pretty bulky again with an Assault Vest. It can be a Life Orb attacker with Regenerator, so it gets all that health back. It can be Assault Vest, so it can live special hits, kill something, and then swap out. It's an Assault Vest Pokemon that gets free health, which is nice. It can be a Wall Breaker with a Life Orb, like we said. It can be a late game sweeper. It does a lot, and it's thick. It's thick. Look at that stomach. Up next, we have Shofu the Darmanitan. Darmanitan is a phenomenal Wall Breaker. Oh my god, this thing is so good. It rounds out our Fire, Water, Grass core, which is very nice. We also have a Fairy Dragon Steel core. Pretty sure we do. Yeah, we have Empoleon, Coco, and Tredegon. So, not the best Fairy Dragon Steel core, but we have a great Fire, Water, Grass core. Which, I mean, if you can do that, you're very good. Darmanitan hits very, very hard. Its 140 attack is amazing. 95 speed is not the best one, but it underwebs 10. It's very, very good. It gets Sheer Force to Zen mode. I'm pretty sure it's illegal. I'm not going to be using it anyway. Life Orb, Sheer Force, Flare Blitz just runs through everything. Choice Bandit runs through everything. It gets things like Earthquake and Flare Blitz is really all you need. But it also gets Hammer Arm if you need to kill something, and Stone Edge and Rock Slide, and U-Turn so it can swap out. And Zen Headbutt for those pesky poison types that for some reason you can't hit with Flare Blitz. It's there, but hits very hard, pretty fast. And I love this thing. Darmanitan's something I've always wanted to use, but I haven't been able to. It gets Belly Drum, which is very cool. Imagine Belly Drum, Fire Punch. Oh my god, that runs through everything. Focus. This thing is also a really good Zmon user, because just nothing can really. It's hard to swap into it already, and then you throw a Z move on it. It's just OHKOs everything. It's great. Up next, we have Lisa Levani. I wanted Webs on this team from the start, and Galvantula was on my list, but oh my god, oh my god, that was terrible, bro. Guys, that hurt. Um, okay, I'm good. I think. So, like, have you ever just been, like, talking, and then, like, all of a sudden you just randomly had to burp, but you can't, like, no time to think about it, and it just happens? Well, that happened, and, like, the acid in my stomach just, like, came up, and now my entire throat burns. Eh. Jesus. Alright. We're good, though. So, yeah, at least the Lily Vanny. Pretty dope Pokemon. Like I said, I wanted Galvantula, but I thought that with Coco, it wasn't the best idea. And I didn't want to, like, exploit myself to too many combinations, but, it happens, I have two grass types and stuff like that. And, I mean, it just, like, it's fine. 101 attack, 103 attack, 92 speed, 80 in the defensive, 75 HP. I'm so sorry about that, guys, if that was weird, but I just had to do that. Swarm and Chlorophyll are very two good abilities, because Swarm just allows this thing to hit a little harder, and people are going to be like, why is that thing hitting so hard? And Chlorophyll just lets this thing be pretty fast. But realistically, this thing is here to do three things. It's a cleric, it can set webs, and it can be support with, like, knockoff. It also can baton pass, like, things like agility, calm mind, and sword stance, but again, you can't baton pass speed in another stat. But, it happens. But, this thing can be, like, an offensive Pokemon, sort of. 103 attack isn't nothing to laugh about. Imagine this thing at plus, like, 2, and then Z, Savage Spin Out, kills something. Everyone's gonna lose their mind, but, it's all good. Things get okay. So move pool wise, we said, like, earlier, it gets agility, it gets baton pass, it gets calm mind, it gets heal bell, it gets knockoff leaf blade, X-Scissor, poison jab, sticky web, seed bombs, shadow claw. That's about its move pool is not that great. Fell stinger is another cool ability. Move. It can. Gosh, I hate this so much. I can't believe I did that during my freaking video. Gets Steel Wing from the Fairy type, so it's technically, like, so it's not completely vulnerable, but you know what's going on. So there is that. There's just not much else that I'm going to be using this for. Sticky Webs against is just really good. And finally, we have Bruce the Hitmonlee. We needed a spinner. This is our only form of hazard removal, which is kind of scary. It's outside of Defog and Empoleon, but I wanted a spinner. And Hitmonlee is pretty good at spinning. I also drafted it because it can be offensive. It has a really good move pool too. Gets 3 good abilities. Limber cannot be paralyzed. Reckless, just high jump kick, just does so much damage. And Unburden, which fake out normal gym, is very good. I need to check and see if I use a Z move, if, like, the crystal gets used up, and then, like, I can then outspeed a lot of stuff, but I don't think that's how that works. I think it gets, like, Blaze Kick, it gets Brick Break, it gets Bullet Punch, Bulk Up, it gets Close Combat, it gets Earthquake, Fake Out, like we said earlier, High Jump Kick, Knockoff, Mach Punch, Poison Jab, Pursuit Trapper, like we said, Rapid Spin, Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Soaker Punch, Superpower, Toxic. Gets Bounce, so Z bounces there. It can be a Dynamic Punch for powerful Z move attacks. Focus Punch, again, powerful Z move. And yeah, that's about it on this thing. Metronome, if I want to be, like, balls to the wall, I'm gonna kill everything. If I get, like, That'd be wild if I used that. I mean, if we're like guaranteed in playoffs and I'm just screwing around, I'll probably bring it. But 120 attack, 110 special defense, 87 speed. Other than that, the snake's not that great. But yeah, that's our team. That is your San Antonio Sound. It's AABL Season 3 team. Um, in Sinnoh. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm so sorry that I had to like take like a minute and just like breathe, but I was about to die. But hope you guys enjoy our team. Let me know who your favorite member of the team is. I'm sorry again, this is late, but just had to be. Um, I just have a lot going on, and I should be going. I should be fine in the next like few weeks. The next month and a half is